What is a healthy locus of control? A locus of control is how much strength I believe I have to make determinations about my own life. So there's an internal locus of control, which basically means I feel like I'm the captain of my ship. I can choose where I go. I can choose what I do. It can be a fantastic cruise ship. I get to decide if I'm going to see the sunset. I get to make all the determinations for my life to make my life how I want it to be. Internal locus of control. Then there's an external locus of control, which is basically I'm in a little rowboat without oars in the middle of the ocean, in the middle of a hurricane. I'm just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen next, and it's not going to be a good thing. That's an external locus of control. So there was a study that was done in the US of who had the strongest internal locus of control and who had the strongest external locus of control. Do you know what they found? They found that white Americans had the biggest sense of internal locus of control. That means that we can make determinations that make our life turn out how we want it to be. Most of us, a lot of us. And do you know who in our country has the most significant external locus of control? It was Latino immigrants who just come from war. And this study was done way back when I was still in college a long time ago. And I find that kind of interesting. So I'd grown up in Latin America during the war, and my parents were white missionaries, and we were in El Salvador during the Civil War down there. And it was a terrible time to live down there for a lot of issues that were going on. I remember one time we had soldiers come into our house and rummage through our home, all my parents' files, all their things, and it was very disconcerting. And there was curfew at 6 o'clock at night, and we were allowed to stay on our property. So I thought, yay, I'll play in Dad's garden, and I'll play in the backyard in my little jungle gym, and everything's going to be fine. Until the soldiers got wind that my sister was at our house, and the helicopter started circling above our yard to try to get a look at my sister through the lens of their rifles that were on the helicopters. And then our backyard wasn't safe either. So, as you might imagine, I had this pretty strong sense that life was not really in control. In addition to that, I had numerous friends whose parents were being kidnapped, and there was ransom being asked for their release. And so you didn't know if your parent was going to be safe or not. And so life was all a little bit off kilter. You didn't know if you were going to be alive the next day, which gave me this incredible sense of existential way of looking at life. But anyway, back to locus of control. You didn't feel like you were in control of your life. No matter what determination you made, you didn't know if you were going to be alive the next day. External locus of control. So in church, I learned God is good all the time, and yet terrible things were happening to really, really good people. And I'm sure that you have known some of them. And, there's little phrases that God needed them, and best people die first, and, all these things that try to make sense theologically of God is good all the time, regardless of all these things happening. But it wasn't very comforting. That's a perspective about God that says that God's in charge of everything. God allows things to happen. So basically everything is under the power of God, and God is the captain of my ship. Well, but then if you don't know what he's going to do, there can be a lot of anxiety about what's going to be next. And then the church requires submission, which is a sense of no matter what happens, you need to trust that God is good all the time. Well, here's the thing though, if you have strong feelings about what is happening in your life, then that's going to mean that you're not submitting properly. Now, submission on the level of dissociation, when you rank dissociation, submission is one of the worst levels of cognitive dissonance. It's when you are dissociating almost fully. You have disconnected from your body, and the body requires honesty. So what happens if you submit to your religious dogma and your body does its own thing? Then you don't have an inner sense of internal locus of control at all, because your body starts doing all sorts of wonky things, takes on a life of its own. There can be autoimmune disorders, addictions, all sorts of things can happen in your body, and it does not feel like there's an internal locus of control within yourself, which breeds shame, which breeds all sorts of other things. And so this conversation about locus of control is actually a really big conversation. So here's what we got to figure out. What is a healthy locus of control? Most of us live in a world where that is not in control. And there are a lot of bad things that are happening all over the planet right now. They're heartbreaking. They're unexpected. It's not a punishment to anybody to have a child randomly being killed in a war, for instance. So life is out of control, but I have decisions that I can make. Among the decisions that I can make, do I trust myself to make the best decision possible for my body? And so when the world is out of control today, I just got back from the gym because that helps my body know that I'm listening, that I care for it, that no matter what's going on, I'm going to be paying attention and being in touch with what my body is needing. I can't control everything in the world, and I can have compassion for for things in the world, and I need to listen to my body. So a healthy locus of control acknowledges that a lot of things are outside of our control, but there are choices that I have. And among the choices that I have, I'm going to make the absolute best ones I possibly can that will be healthy at that moment. I hope you have a good day. I'll see you soon.